The Muffler Podcast. Yeah. Yeah. It's the Muffler Podcast. It's the Muffler Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Muffler Podcast. This is episode 22 and the first episode of the second season. Today is the 19th of June, 2023, and I'm coming at y'all with a new and better than ever podcast episode. I thought that I would make this episode about I don't know, my music journey. I'm planning on separating it into parts, covering my music in 2019, 2020, and then I guess 2022 and 2023 probably are going to be in the same episode because I haven't really been releasing anything as of late. First, before I get into any of the stuff to do with my music, I want to give a little update on how my life's been doing. I haven't been working on music very much, like at all. I've just been hanging out with my significant other and just working on schoolwork. Now it's summer break and we're dog sitting and just hanging out, really. Just trying to enjoy my summer break, be as chill as possible, you know. I'm trying to apply for some jobs, so I'm trying to get into the workforce and everything. So, yeah, that's just a little update on my life before we get into the actual topic. So yeah, anyways, I guess here we are. I think it's time. It's time we start talking about 2019. What happened? What was going on in 2019, you know? Well, I want to start by what inspired me to get into music. I'm actually unsure as to what started like my whole musical journey. One of my friends who I was around a lot at the time said that it was because him and his friend were on this really easy rapping app and that I wanted to try it out and that got me into music and all that. But what I think is I was listening to Kanye and it was like his Christian album or whatever. And then, you know, I my family's Christian, so obviously my music can't have like cusses or anything in that. And I never assumed that I'd be able to do that. I was always into rap music a lot. So I was like, oh, Christian rap can't be a thing. But I guess, you know, I listened to that really bad Kanye album and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can make music. So two different ways that it can go. I kind of prefer what my friend said, and it makes a lot more sense to me. Um, Even if I don't remember it that way, it just makes more sense and is a better backstory in general. So let's just say my friends were getting into this really simplistic app, and I decided to get in on it too. So obviously started on SoundCloud like everyone does. Yes, I was a SoundCloud rapper for a time. Isn't that crazy? I find that absolutely bonkers that I could even say that any part of my life I was a SoundCloud rapper. I was white dude, doesn't know how to rap at all, just doesn't know what he's doing in any way. I don't know what I was doing, man. Just being dumb. I don't know. My first song was I'm Really Tall. It was actually based on like a joke that I had, less of a joke and just something I said a lot, which is about how tall I was. Because in my class, which was a very small class actually, I was the tallest, like nearly the tallest dude in my class. Uh, Very small class. It was like back in middle school, like seventh grade, I think. So I made these four songs. The second one was what was the second 7-Eleven story, which I don't know. I guess I just wanted to make more music, so I made that song. It's a really stupid song, but you know. And then I made this song Trash Can, which was just about a story from my gym class at the time where we were playing hide and seek and I hid behind a trash can. Uh, the original name, going back to my first song, um, I'm Really Tall. It was originally called Muffler Diss. So, I was the Muffler man. I was a muffler, and I was trying to make a diss track about myself. Pretty meta. But I just ended up talking about how tall I was the whole song, so I decided to talk about that instead. Um and then Trying Hard was just a song that I wrote because I wanted to be all cool and lyrical, but it really didn't turn out that good. So I didn't really know what I was doing making the beats. I didn't really know what I was doing writing the songs. I just kind of wanted to make music and decided I would. Uh, Recently, not too recently, maybe a year or two ago, there was this dude who had been working out a lot, I guess, and like had really big calves or something. And he made a TikTok with my first song, I'm Really Tall, I'm pretty sure. And it got like thousands of likes and was like, I don't know, it was like 7,000 likes or something crazy like that. And it was insane. Uh, so I don't know why he did that, why he chose that song, but whatever. So after making making those four songs, they were just released on SoundCloud just individually. Whenever I was done with them, I decided to group them all together into a little EP, and then I decided that I wanted to make an album. That was A Tip Y, which was the initials of the song put into an order that makes them spell out a word. So this album was made in like 1 hour or something. It's like the worst thing I've ever made. It's like really bad. I was trying to rush it just because I wanted to put it on an album as fast as possible, just because I wanted to have fun. It sounded fun to make, and so I did it. I made it, and I thought it would be cool, and it was really bad. Like every song has like extremely similar beats. I'm like rapping monotone, like into like a really bad microphone, and it's practically just like meme rap with how bad it is. It's like so horrible. Um, and then after that album, which was at the time it was a 7-track album, 7 songs, and I'd later add another song onto that album. After that, one of my friends criticized that album, the first album I ever made, as all the songs sounding the same, and I denied it at the time, but I knew it was right. So on my next project, I decided that I would try to make all the songs sound different, all have a different sound to them, and just not be so similar. Some of my friends are really interested in these songs. Even in person, back in middle school, they used to sing some of these songs. Trash Can was one of the songs that people sang. I hid behind the trash. It's just, they were kind of catchy, I guess. They weren't good at all, but they were catchy. And so they'd sing some of the lyrics off it, but especially off of this next album that I made, my second album. Life is Ours, but hours is spelled like time. um, yeah, I tried to improve using the criticism off of the first album. I think I made the song Rail Transport, and I played a snippet for my friend. He said it wasn't that good, but I think it's like one of the like only good songs from this entire like year of music that I made was that right there was that music. Um so that album to me still means a lot. I think it's like my actual first album that I actually like tried to make good and didn't just rush for absolutely no reason. And it actually has a little bit of substance and makes a bit of sense, and I don't know, I like it. I like it like more than a lot of the albums from this time period. So I've decided to keep it on streaming services, at least at this moment. Um, then I released a single, which is the first actual single I've ever released. Gotta Go Get My Cooler. It's it's an interesting song. All the music from Beck here is like not, I wouldn't call it like actual good music. I wouldn't call it like actual music that you'd listen to in your free time. But there are a couple songs that aren't absolute garbage and aren't like the worst music ever. And Gotta Go Get My Cooler to me is one of those songs that like isn't absolutely garbage, but is still kind of weak, you know? Just doesn't give you everything that you need from a song. Um, yeah, so I released that on SoundCloud, I'm pretty sure. And then I went on to release, did I? I don't know. I feel like I released Gotta Go Get My Cooler after the next album I'm going to talk about. Whatever. Um, I started this album, Uber Muffler, with it didn't have any name or anything. I was really into making like really long songs. It was really, I don't know what I was doing. I thought long songs would be just so good. Like them being longer was them being better, you know? And that doesn't make any sense. Um, for part of this album, uh, we were in New York City for New Year's on vacation, and I wrote some of this album and worked on some of these songs there in New York, and I came up with the name for the album in New York City in that little Airbnb, and yeah, that's what it was really fun. I remember that really well. I remember working on this album a lot. It's like such a bad album, and I think some of like the hardest to listen to all the way through. Out of any of my albums, this one's probably the hardest to listen to all the way through. Some of the songs like exceed 6 minutes long and are just repetitious and horrible. There's a couple good ones, but it's just bad. It's just bad stuff, man. There's just ones. There's a couple good ones. There's a lot of bad ones. Um, there was one connecting back to the New York City part. I even made a song about New York while I was there. I wrote it, and that's The Best City. That's literally the name of the song. I've always loved New York, and I've always thought of it as my favorite city. So it was cool writing a song about it and making that song. Um, let me think. Um, there in New York, I did a bunch of research on how I could get my music uploaded and published, and I had some friends help me get it uploaded to the right websites. You know, get some good deals on it. But I did a lot of research to make sure I was making the right decision, and I landed on DistroKid. And this is when I turned from SoundCloud rapper to like actual, I guess, because it's not just on SoundCloud, it was going to be everywhere. So yeah, one of the most popular songs on this album was "The Stove Is On." The feature, the dude who featured on it, got me that beat for the song, and we were gonna make a song together. And it was gonna be his song, but it ended up being mine instead because like he deleted it. And I was like, no, don't delete it. It's so good. I want to keep it. Have it be on mine. But with my writing, with my lyrics on it, they were supposed to be for a song that was going to be purposefully so bad. Like the lyrics were purposefully made to be absolutely horrible. And then this dude hops on and is like trying his best. Like he's freestyling for real. Like he's going in hard trying. And it's kind of lame. It's kind of messed up to me that I was like purposefully making it bad. And he was like, I don't know. It makes me like puts me in a worse light because I was purposefully making bad lyrics at the time for an upcoming project idea I had, which we'll get to in a second. And he like actually tried, and it was like, dang, okay, ugh. And so I think after this album, I released "Gotta Go Get My Cooler," if I remember correctly, and then I was playing CS:GO a lot, and I Counter Strike Global Offensive. It's a game on Steam um, with some friends, and they decided they wanted to make a song with me. I wanted to make a song with them, so we made the song "For the Lord." I don't think it's actually that bad of a song. A lot of it is just like joke material, you know. But yeah, so there's that single. I think that single isn't that bad, but it's not like a top tier song or anything. Um, After that, I had this like really bad idea that I'd make an album that was like 750, I don't know, 7 super duper long songs, like 7 10-minute songs or something. That was my idea for my next album. And I was planning on making them the absolute worst songs I could possibly make. That was my plan. In the end, I made like one of those type of songs, and that's the opener track. It's called Garbage. I think it's Garbage 2 is what it's called, because the first song, Garbage, just plain Garbage, was on the Life is Ours album, my second album that I've ever released. So here on my fourth album now, it's called Garbage Bad, which is just means it's like really bad. It's a garbage album, but I tried to make it cool because my idea changed. It changed to more of being experimental, trying to experiment with making new sounds and stuff that I hadn't heard before. But it was more just like making stuff that sounded really weird. That's about it. It wasn't experimental. It was just weird sounds. It's not even like great music with those ideas. Um, it's a pretty weird album. I think it has a charm to it. I think some of the songs are kind of interesting, but a lot of it to me is just me trying to be experimental, but not knowing how to make music really in the first place. So just should have stayed plain and worked on being plain before I got experimental. I got a lot of people to feature on this album, a lot of my friends to feature on it, a couple of people from the rap community that I knew who were more popular than me. And yeah, I got this album done. It's a pretty long one, but I think I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool album. I'm not even sure what year this was released in. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I'm pretty sure that was 2020. I think this is a 2020 album. Let me look this up real quick. Figure out when I actually released this album. Oh snap! I forgot. Oh no. Uh, One sec. Let me do my research here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Garbage Bad, the Purposefully Bad album, was released in 2020. I think that's right. I think it was a 2020 album. So I think I've done too far in covering too much music. Yep, I have. The Garbage Bad album was uploaded 20th of February 2020. So I've gone too far. I've gone 2 months too far. But yeah, so far, like within the year of 2019, I didn't make a whole lot of progress on improving my sound. All that I really did was improve from my first 2 second album, and from there wasn't really any real improvement. And there wouldn't be for a while until a future album that we're going to talk about in a later episode. I think Life is Ours is the only one that I actually tried to improve upon what I was doing, and actually like took criticism and tried to work with it instead of just making garbage as fast as I could. So that album to me has a lot of charm to it. It has a lot of memories with my friends to it. There's a lot of stuff in this music that I think is pretty cool. Um, like it's obviously not great music, but it's, it's I think it's something cool that I created, and it's like a coherent experience, kind of like it's an actual album, unlike a lot of my other music, I think. Um, but yeah, at the time, I just wanted to make music. I didn't really care how bad it was. I didn't really put a lot of effort into it. I just wanted to make it. I wanted to make it and put it out, and I thought that was fun. I thought that was a fun idea, just something I could do. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but it just I should have worked more on it. I should have not released a lot of this stuff and just kept it to myself and kept working on it until it got good. But I wanted to get it out there. Everything about music I've always found super fun. So it was so awesome being able to release it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just really wanted to get that out. I wanted to get this music out because I was just so interested in music and making music and publishing music. And when I work on music nowadays, it still feels that way, but I don't do it. I focus on other hobbies instead, you know? And I wish that I worked on uh, music more because I feel like I'm really headed in a really great direction at the moment, but I just don't have the free time for that, you know? But yeah, music has always meant a lot to me ever since I started exploring it. And it was in 2019 that I wanted to make my own. I'd only really been listening to music for like a year. So it's really funny that I listened to music shorter than how long I've been like making it, kind of, you know? Like I've been listening to it. I don't know. I guess it's less that I've been making it longer and more that for the majority of the time I've listened to music, I've also made music. Is that I find pretty funny. I think it's really interesting how that worked, how I did that. I think a lot of the music from back then is more interesting now, just to look at how I've changed and evolved, um, and how the process has changed and everything. Back then, I don't even think I listened to it back to like confirm that it was good to me. I just wanted to put it out so bad. And yeah, it was some pretty bad music. I would not ask you to watch it. I would not recommend you listen to it at all. It's like bad music, man. It's horrible. But yeah, that was the first year of my music, was 2019. I had a lot of my friends listen to it, and they were like fanboying. I think it was more of like a joke. They just, oh, it's amazing, oh my gosh. But it was still pretty awesome to get that support, whether it was a running joke or not. It was still fun to have people support it and sing it in class and like love it like that. It was awesome, and it really got me motivated to make more. And that's what I did. I made a lot more. It was less about quality and more about quantity. So I made a lot more, but not any of it good within this year, I don't think. Maybe rail transport, but besides that, nothing, no really great music at the time. But yeah, that was my first year in music. Recapped, covered, front to back. It was a bad year for me, music wise. Very stupid music. But yeah, that is the start of how I got into music. Thank you for listening. This has been the Muffler Man, coming in hot. Thank you for listening to the 22nd episode of the Muffler Podcast and the first episode of the second season. We will return one day in the far future to give you more podcasty content. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Yeah.